As long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. 4.3, congruent triangles. All right, today we're going to, yesterday we learned all the properties and names and vocabulary words of triangles. Today we're going to take two triangles and then compare them. Two congruent triangles and compare them. All right, so here we have an acronym, Cpoctac. It stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. What that means is all the parts that match up of each triangle, if the triangles are congruent, then all of its parts should be congruent as well. All right, and so if we look at the blue triangle ABC, that symbol in between them, this one right here, means congruent to triangle WXY. So they tell you that the blue triangle is congruent to the yellow triangle. All you have to do is list out all the parts that are congruent. For example, oh, there's the congruent symbol. Angle A, right here, is congruent to angle W. Now your question might be, well, how did I know that angle A and it was congruent to angle W? Why wasn't A congruent to Y? How did I choose W? All right, so in this case, you have to be careful and you have to look carefully at the given statement. I'll use yellow, it's better. A, the first position, has to match up with W, also the first position. And so the position, the order, does matter when you look at these givens. All right, so angle A matches up with angle W, and you have to do it for all the parts. Angle B matches up with angle X, and then angle C matches up with angle Y. Not only that, you have to also do the sides. You have to match up all the sides as well. Side AB, this side right here, matches up with side WX. And then again, if you're asking, well, how did you know? We can look. AB should match up with WX. The order does matter. And then we have side BC matches up with side XY. And then side AC matches up with side WY. All right, so that's what Cpoctac means. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are also congruent. All right, so that's the first part of the homework, is you just have to list them all out. List all the parts that are equal, sides and angles. Sometimes they draw them to confuse you. Sometimes they put two triangles and they push them together. If you can see, there are two triangles in this picture, but together they look like a parallelogram, and so you have to visually take them apart. Maybe this way. Take them apart, and then compare the parts. And if you notice, I drew those dashes and arcs in myself using a mouse, so it's a little bit wiggly, but you just have to match up the parts. First angle, angle R, is congruent to angle U. Notice angle R has one arc, and so does angle U. It has one arc. So that means that they match up. All right, if you can think of other angles that match up, that's good too. So the next angle, though, that I'm matching up is this angle. The one with the two arcs. And it matches up with this one. It also has two arcs. But you cannot say angle T is congruent to angle S. All right, think about why you cannot say that. But instead, you have to use the re letters. angle RTS is congruent to angle UST. All right, so this is important, and it sometimes confuses people. The reason why I had to use 3 letters for this angle is because angle T has too many options. If you look, when I say angle T, am I talking about this angle? Because this can be angle T. Can this angle be angle T? Or what about the whole angle over here? Can that be angle T? So when you look at that angle, you cannot just say angle T because there's too many options. You have to be more specific. And that's how you become more specific is if you use 3 letters. And again, it's how you draw it. RTS, start at R, go to T, and then go to S. And that's the angle we're talking about. It's equal to angle UST. Start at U, go to S, go to T. And that's the angle we're talking about. All right, so labeling them. And then I wanted to point out that we were allowed to use 1 letter because when we mention angle R only has 1 option. Angle U only has 1 option, so we didn't have to be very specific. But when it needs to be specific, you have to be specific using 3 letters instead of just 1. And then, of course, the other angle with the 3 arcs in it, angle TSR, this one matches up with STU, this one. All right, and then we also have to match up the sides. So let's go ahead and match up the sides. RT matches up with US. Notice it has 2 little dash marks. Match it up with the 2 little dash marks. Side RS matches up with UT. It has 1 dash mark. And then the last side, what do you notice about the last side? They kind of share it. It's like in between, and they share the same side. So you can still write angle TS is congruent to angle ST. All right, so that's how you would write the shared side. Here's another example, but this one says you're going to use algebra. And then if you notice at the very bottom, it says, picture not drawn to scale on purpose to trick you. So I drew the 2 triangles and they're completely off scale, just so that you have to really look at the given. So in this case, triangle GHI is congruent to MNO. So you have to really look at the letters to match them up perfectly. All right, let's solve for angle G. It's up here. It's also right here. It needs to match up with M. And there's M. Angle G is 52 degrees. That means the measurement of angle G is equal to 52 degrees. All right, so this is why you have to be really careful, is you have to really look at the positioning of everything, even though the picture is drawn really poorly. Next thing we have to solve for is N. Here's angle N. Here it's in that middle position, so it should match up this middle position. H, notice there's a box in H, which means it's 90 degrees. So the measurement of angle N equals 90 degrees. All right, next thing, side X. Not side X, solve for X. X is in here. Now, a lot of people think, oh, that's easy. That angle matches up with that angle. But if you set them equal to each other, you should notice that 2x plus 18 does equal 3y plus 11. But now you have 2 variables and you can't really solve. So we have to go and think of another way we can solve them. Maybe separately so it doesn't involve the y at all. If you remember, if we just look at this triangle, we can actually use the triangle sum theorem. We found out earlier that this was 52 degrees. We know this is 90 degrees. And then 2x plus 18. Triangle sum theorem says if we add them all together, they should equal 180. So there it is. 90 plus 52 plus 2x plus 18 equals 180. And then you just have to use basic algebra to solve. Combine like terms, subtract, divide. And of course, the same thing for the y over here. You can use these guys right here, knowing that this is now 90 degrees. 90 plus 52 plus 3y plus 11 equals 180. A little bit of combining like terms, subtraction property, and division property. All right, not too bad. All right, the last present for the day. It's the same thing. The only difference is they give you all the given information. They give you some equations and things, but they don't give you a picture. So your job is to draw a nice, accurate picture. All right, it starts off with triangle ABC and triangle XYZ. You have to draw them. Maybe it helps if you draw them so that they look the same, kind of like this. Labeling it ABC and XYZ. Remember the labeling has to be in the same order, just so that it's easier for you to match things up. And then it says to plug all of this information in. AB is 12, BC is 9, AC is m plus 3. So fill in all the sides. There it is. And then fill in the sides for the x, y, y, z, and xz as well. There it is. And then from there you can solve pretty easily. We have to solve for m. So m is fairly easy. There's m, it's equal to 7. Very simple, simple, simple. We have to solve for n. That's over here. Match it up. 12 equals 3n minus 9. A little bit of math. You get 7. And then p is super easy. P is just 9. All right? So there's a lesson. It's not too difficult. Go ahead and try the homework yourself.